Imagine a peaceful morning in the quaint town of Fall River, Massachusetts, disrupted by a horrifying discovery. In this idyllic, tight-knit community, nestled amongst its charming streets, stood a grand Victorian house at 92 2nd Street. This was not just any home, but one that housed respected members of society, Andrew and Abby Borden. Their imposing residence, once a symbol of prosperity and respectability, was about to become the epicenter of a chilling mystery that still haunts the annals of American crime history. On a fateful morning in August 1892, the serenity of the town was shattered. The Bordens, prominent and well-regarded, were found brutally murdered within the walls of their own home. Their bodies bore the marks of a savage attack, an act so gruesome it defied comprehension. The assailant had used an axe, leaving behind a horrifying tableau that sent shockwaves through the community. News of the atrocity spread like wildfire, the flames of fear and disbelief fanned by the gruesome details. The murder of such esteemed individuals was shocking enough, but what followed was even more startling. Suspicion, that unwelcome visitor, quickly found a home, and it fell with alarming speed upon an unlikely suspect. Andrew's daughter, Lizzie Borden. Lizzie, a member of the very household that had been violated, found herself at the center of a whirlwind of speculation and accusation. Despite her protestations of innocence, the circumstantial evidence seemed damning. Whispers of greed, resentment, and family discord filled the air, casting an ominous shadow over the once tranquil streets of Fall River. The tranquility of this small town was forever marred by an act of unspeakable violence, and a cloud of suspicion quickly enveloped one of their own. The seeds of doubt had been sown, the stage set for a trial that would capture the attention of the nation and become a story that continues to intrigue and horrify in equal measure, even over a century later. As investigators descended upon the Borden residence, the case only grew more perplexing. The grand Victorian house at 92 2nd Street, once a symbol of tranquility, now bore silent witness to a gruesome mystery. The seasoned investigators moved methodically, their experienced eyes scanning for any shred of evidence that might lead them to the perpetrator of this heinous crime. The crime scene was a grisly tableau. The bodies of Andrew and Abby Borden lay in a state of brutal disarray, their wounds bearing the signature of a savage attack with an axe. Yet despite the violence of the scene, substantial clues were frustratingly sparse. The murder weapon, a blood-stained axe, offered little in the way of tangible leads. Its origins, like the identity of the killer, remained shrouded in uncertainty. One by one, potential alibis were examined and subsequently discarded, each proving more elusive than the last. The investigators found themselves caught in a labyrinth of dead ends and unanswered questions. As the hours turned into days, the pressure mounted. The community of Fall River looked on with bated breath, their faith in the investigators' skills tinged with a growing sense of impatience and dread. Amidst this maelstrom of confusion, suspicion inevitably turned towards the household's surviving member, Lizzie Borden. Despite her protestations of innocence, the circumstantial evidence seemed to point increasingly in her direction. Whispers of greed, resentment, and family discord began to circulate, their insidious tendrils sowing seeds of doubt in the minds of the townsfolk. Yet, the investigators were cautious, aware that suspicion alone was not enough to build a case. And so, the investigation trudged on, a relentless pursuit of truth in a sea of uncertainty. Each passing day brought new challenges, new theories, and new disappointments. The mystery deepened, but amidst the chaos and confusion, it was clear. The truth behind the Borden murders was far from being uncovered. The nation watched with bated breath as Lizzie Borden stood before the court, accused of a heinous crime. The year was 1893, a year after the gruesome murders that had rocked the small town of Fall River, Massachusetts. The trial had begun, and it was nothing short of a spectacle. The courtrooms were packed to the brim, filled with curious spectators, journalists, and anxious townsfolk. The proceedings were not merely a legal battle but a theatrical performance. It was a scene of high drama and sensationalism, the likes of which had never been seen before in the quiet town. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Hosea Knowlton, presented a compelling case. They painted Lizzie as a cold-hearted killer, driven by resentment and greed. They pointed to the strained relationship between Lizzie and her stepmother Abby and the escalating tension over Andrew Borden's wealth. the blood-soaked dress, the suspicious purchase of poison, and the burning of a dress shortly after the murders all served to cast Lizzie in a damning light. Yet, the defense, helmed by former Governor George Robinson, countered with equal vigor. They pointed to the lack of physical evidence tying Lizzie to the crime. They questioned the reliability of the prosecution's witnesses and highlighted the inconsistencies in their testimonies. They argued that Lizzie, a respected member of the community and a devoted churchgoer, was incapable of such a savage act. The trial raged on for 13 days, a whirlwind of testimonies, cross-examinations, and impassioned speeches. Lizzie herself maintained her composure throughout the trial, her face an inscrutable mask. Her only moment of visible emotion came when the crime scene photos were presented, causing her to faint in the courtroom. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, the jury's verdict. After less than 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a shocking verdict: not guilty. The courtroom erupted into a cacophony of gasps, whispers, and exclamations. Lizzie Borden, the woman accused of one of the most brutal murders in American history, was free. The verdict sent shockwaves across the country, leaving many to question if justice had truly been served. The trial of Lizzie Borden had ended, but the mystery surrounding the Borden murders was far from over. The case would go on to become one of the most enduring enigmas in American history, a tale of family, greed, and suspicion that continues to captivate the imagination of the public even today. The case of the Lizzie Borden axe murders remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. The reverberations of this chilling tale continue to echo through the centuries, etching themselves into the fabric of our collective consciousness. Theories have multiplied like shadows in the night, each more intriguing than the last. Some point to a disgruntled maid, others to a scorned lover, but the truth, it seems, is as elusive as a wisp of smoke. The power of this story lies not just in the gruesome details or the shocking verdict, but in its testament to the human fascination with the unknown. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly suspicion can shatter the veneer of respectability, casting long, dark shadows over a life. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest uploads. Thanks for watching.